Hey everyone, welcome back to Lawyers, Mediators International Show and Podcast. LMIpodcast.com is the site. It's where we talk about the law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. So today I have a special guest, Jill Nagle of Mendful.world. She's going to be talking to us about conflict resolution and how her application that she's building out and the cohort, the community she's building around the world is going to transform people's lives and the work that they do. And so, Jill, how are you doing today?
Ooh, hearing that gives me kind of a chill and a thrill and hope and fear because this is actually coming to fruition. It's a dream that I've had for a very long time in different forms, different building blocks, um, to put into place what's actually happening right now, which is we're just about to launch a proof of concept.
Yes.
What
Well,
was the question?
we're going to hear all about it today, and it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
So you are the CEO of Mendful, and it's
Mm.
the first digital platform offering human-led conflict resolution on demand. And
Yes.
and so you're going to explain it to us. I'm going to share my screen a little bit for the folks who are new to you so that they can understand what this platform is all about and what it does. So first, why don't you introduce yourself? Just share a little bit about yourself and all the work you've done that's led us to this reveal of Menful.
Sure. So I've led a bit of a double life in that I have almost 20 years in tech on user experience teams, mainly as a content person, but very design adjacent. And so I like to joke that I've become kind of a UX weenie in terms of really just honing in on user experience and design and what makes a product really sing in the hands of the user. And then meanwhile, the other life that I'm braiding in here is developing a somatic or body-based counseling practice, being interested and deeply involved in human communication ever since I was 8 years old and took Between Parent and Child off of my parents' shelves and got excited and tried to teach my father how to talk to me, which did not go over very well, but laid the groundwork for being interested in, how we connect, how we disconnect, how we come back into connection. So I had the idea for a long time to make a library of videos available to people that would help model what it really looks like to talk through a conflict successfully. And then that evolved into making human human-led AI-supported conflict resolution sessions available to people anytime. We're going to work up to any time, but for now, as we're launching this proof of concept, we want to have sessions available in minutes or hours, not days, and focused on being able to help someone get through what's happening in the moment. So I know that in traditional mediation, there's often a long intake to try to, get a sense of the big picture. This is going to be very focused, not to rush people in any way, shape, or form, but rather this first cohort that we train and the second one that we're taking applications for now will learn how to get to the heart of a matter quickly so that once people reconnect in an embodied, heartful kind of way, as I'm sure you've seen many times, they will unravel their own conflict pretty quickly.
Yes, well, it's awesome to hear. I'm in the conflict resolution world. All right. I'm doing mediations almost every day now, helping people resolve their differences. But I'm a human being and I use a lot of technology. But
Yeah.
now with the advent of AI, it's opening up new opportunities and new doors. And so want to hear a little bit about that and how you are implementing technology. But for listeners hearing about this for the first time, what is Menful in a nutshell? And what actually happens when I go and open up the app
Mm.
after there's some kind of conflict between, let's say, me and a coworker, or me and my spouse, or me and a neighbor? So take us and help us imagine it, because we see the website, we see the proof of concept, and people will be able to go to Mendful.world and try it out for themselves pretty soon.
Yeah.
But tell us what it is in a nutshell, practically.
Well, ultimately, you'll be able to call up a mental conflict resolution coach
Mhm.
almost in the same way you call a ride share.
Yeah.
your coach will be available in 7 minutes. Look, they're on their way. That sort
Okay.
of thing. Give you
Okay.
some things to do in the meantime. And that coach will be able to work with just you, or you and another person with you, or you and another person somewhere else. And if that person somewhere else, you're not sure if they're going to join or not, we'll help you reach out to them.
Hmm.
And if they're not ready, we'll give them some things to do to, to explore their end of things. Like, for example, one scenario I like to use is, let's imagine that a gay son has recently come out to his very religious conservative father, and it's just not going well. So the son engages Mendful, and Mendful reaches out to dad with a text saying, hey, your son would love to have a Mendful conversation with you. Dad is not ready for this. He does not want to engage this woke thing or whatever it is. He's just not down with it. But dad will anonymously browse a video of another gay son, his religious father, and he'll get a sense of vicarious empathy by watching that video, and it may even help him feel closer to his son.
So that's one example.
Hmm.
So there's going to be a library of videos that people can.
Ultimately, there will be. Yeah, we're working on that right now.
Okay.
And we want
And
to invite anyone, like anyone who really wants to see this kind of help scale and to normalize relational repair on demand. If you have a small to smallish conflict in your life that you're willing to do on camera, we need leaders to show what's possible. We need celebrities and influencers to take their conflicts public so that people can see there are other ways to engage a conflict other than ghosting, estrangement, polarization, all that stuff that we know how to do so well, unfortunately.
exactly. Well, part of our human nature is we do these things and we're broken people and we sometimes are not trained, especially if we had modeled for us the bad way of doing it. And so we just keep repeating the cycle, pass it on,
Exactly.
to our children. And so you're trying to jump in the middle.
Yeah.
And so I see that there's a immediacy to what you're actually building out. It's
Yeah.
like as soon as people have a conflict, you want Menful to be there so that people are not waiting hours, days, weeks, months,
Yeah.
because that's the traditional model, especially in the court system. As I
Yeah.
had told you, off camera, maybe a week ago, I go to court a whole lot, and people are waiting months, sometimes even years, for a judge to resolve their differences.
Yeah.
But
And they're
Mhm.
suffering in the
In the
meantime.
meantime, exactly. And so can you tell us a little bit about that before we go on? Why is that so important to you to try to address the issue, address the wound so promptly?
Because I see the cost
Hmm.
of unresolved conflict. More than 1 in 4 adults is estranged from a family member.
Yeah.
Isolation and everything that goes along with that is epidemic. Substance use,
Yeah.
all kinds of numbing activities, whether it's scrolling or food or gambling or drugs, whatever it is. People are alienated from one another, and we don't know how to reconnect. I've
Gotcha.
had it in my own family.
Hmm.
My father died a year ago May without ever having met my son, his only grandchild.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is very personal for you. This is very
It
important
is
to
very
help
personal.
resolve
Yeah.
conflicts.
I
Gotcha.
don't know if Menful had been around, if my dad would have picked it up, but
Oh,
I sure wish it had been an option.
understood. So Menful is human led. What are what are your plans for integrating AI? Where does human coach end and the AI begin?
So this is all still in progress.
Mhm.
We've formed a partnership with a company called Paravox. That's PARI, V as in victory, OX, paravox.net, I believe. And Paravox is creating rooms like this where AI agents can join. And one of the first AI agents that will be built for Paravox is Mendful's
Oh,
AI. So let's
okay.
say you and I were getting into a conflict and we're really getting into it and we need some help. Mendy can join and help us. And then when we say, you're hallucinating, we're seeing limitations of your AI methods, Mendy, we want a human. Mendy will go find a human to come and replace them. So that's one way, is through Parabox. Another way is to give people the option of mini courses and AI coaching one-on-one through Mendy, through, like, maybe it's 3 in the morning and there really is nobody available.
Yeah.
Even though we have, 30 coaches in different time zones, there's nobody available right then, but you can still talk to Mendy, and eventually Mendy will also be able to help you and the other person. But we always want to give people the option to bypass AI entirely, because many people don't want AI. They don't trust it. They want the human.
Mendful is, in my opinion, part of the ODR progression of things.
Yeah,
And as you know, I'm pretty big into online dispute resolution, anything having to do with technology. And so I had done a
yeah.
documentary on the story of ODR.
Yes,
And
that's how I
so
found out about you.
yeah, yeah. And so as we delve into this world, we're realizing more and more there are startups happening all over the place where people are bringing proof of concept, things to the marketplace that had never existed before, especially now with AI's ability to help speed up the process of development. So how do you see that Menful fits within the broader ODR landscape? It's kind of a techie question, but I'm just kind of
Mhm.
curious. Did you consider yourself now an ODR guru now that you are going along the same path as many other people?
I definitely don't consider myself a guru. What an interesting question. How's it been? I think that the short answer is time will tell, and I'm not trying to evade your question.
Yeah.
I just don't know. What I do know is that we had, this last, cohort, we had people from several different countries,
Hmm.
a couple people in Brazil, one of whom was Scottish, someone in Colombia, someone in Nigeria, someone in India, someone from Canada, and people with advanced degrees in conflict resolution professionals, even a Fulbright scholar. And this technique, which is the spine of which is basically nonviolent communication mediation, based in the work of Marshall Rosenberg that I trained in 2009 and 2010. This
Hmm.
technique is still challenging for everyone because it's not, it involves stopping people, distilling and translating what they're saying into feelings and needs, carrying that over to the other person. It's a little
Hmm.
clunky. Not everyone enjoys being at the receiving end of that at first. But
Yeah.
as Marshall Rosenberg once said, once any two people can correctly identify each other's feelings and needs, the actual resolution of the conflict
Hmm.
takes about 20 minutes. Now, I
Interesting.
don't know that that's true across the board. I've seen sessions take a lot longer than that, but that is the essence of what we're doing. Plus, we are also using somatic or embodied techniques to regulate our own nervous systems
Hmm.
and learn how to show up with somebody else's dysregulated nervous system to help them come back into their bodies and into presence, from which place it is much easier to resolve a conflict. We basically see an entrenched conflict as having two main components. And one of those components is the dysregulated nervous system. And that's not always there. Sometimes people are perfectly calm and saying, nope, I don't want to engage. But often it's a dysregulated nervous system. And then the other hand is a story about how the other person is wrong. And if we can work with even one of these, we're off to a good start. If we can work with both of them, assuming that they're both present, then we can
Even better.
often get
Yeah.
underneath. Because if somebody's angry and they're convinced someone else is wrong, you've got that dysregulated nervous system, then you've got the
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
right? And they both, it helps to be able to work with both of those.
Awesome. Well, I love listening to the science behind it because again, we're not trained with these things. We just act and react, right? Over and over, and the cycle goes on and on and on. So I'm so thankful that you're doing
Exactly.
this.
Exactly. One of my favorite quotes is from
Mm,
Viktor Frankl, who was a
mm,
Holocaust survivor.
yep.
He said, I'm going to botch it, but it's something like, in between stimulus and response lies the power of choice. And when
Mm,
we exercise that power of choice, we get to basically create our world. Again, it's I don't have the exact quote in front of
yeah.
me, but that's one of my favorite quotes because it foregrounds that moment between stimulus and response. And that kind of maps neatly onto this distinction that Marshall Rosenberg makes in
Mm,
nonviolent communication between needs and strategies. Like a lot of times you could pretty much say that all of our conflict, all of our wars, all of
yeah,
our tsuris, which is
I've
Yiddish
heard
for
it.
pain and suffering,
Yeah.
stems from that we experience from other people, stems from having a need and getting attached to a strategy. Like, I'm feeling anxious, therefore I'm going to start a war. Like,
Mm, mm,
attaching that strategy to that need. If you stop, oh, I have this need, this thing happened, there's the stimulus, right?
mm.
And you allow there to be space, there's actually an infinite number of responses. But most of us are not aware of that. We're just, like you were saying, the cycle. It's because people keep following those same grooves when they get a stimulus and they react really rather than respond, rather than kind of be with that moment.
Cool. Thank you so much. That's very interesting. So you talked briefly about the cohort, right?
Mhm.
And so you are not just building a tool to help people in their everyday lives, have a way to resolve conflict, but you're also training people and
Yes.
getting and building a following, in the process. And so you listed a bunch of countries earlier of
Mhm.
of folks who have, started, who have come along and who are now going to be conflict resolvers as part of Mendful. So let's talk about
Yes,
that a little bit.
absolutely. So, um, there are 13 people who graduated from the first cohort. We started out with 28, and we wound up with 13 people graduating, and they are now preparing to work on the app as associate coaches. They won't be listed yet because for this proof of concept, it's just going to be me, and then
Yeah.
it'll be me with the associate coaches, and then they'll have their own listing where they can see people. Plus, we have to get customers. We don't want to keep them waiting.
Yes.
And by the way, we are looking for an angel investor or a VC for this stage as well because we've been bootstrapping. So this cohort is incredible. There are, as I said, conflict resolution professionals. One guy has 30 years in nonviolent communication. Um, just such a range of skills, and the care and the skill, and the commitment and interest to make a better world is so deep and so present. I'm super excited.
Yes. So do you have a training coming up for folks who may be
Yes.
interested in joining? So tell us more about that.
So the training, it's again going to be a remote training, but this time, thankfully, it's going to be 6 months. We squeezed that first training into 3 months, which was way too short, but we wanted to get people up and running.
Yeah.
So people worked super, super hard. Now we're going to have a little bit more spaciousness with 6 months. And one of the questions I get sometimes is, but I'm already a mediator. I'm already a conflict
Hmm.
resolution professional. Why do I need to take your training? And my
Hmm.
answer is, well, Menful's different. We have the NVC backbone, nonviolent communication mediation. We also have the somatic work. We work with patterns of response that people express in their bodies, both so that we as practitioners can learn how to learn how to embody a fully resource presence for our clients, and also so we can recognize what kinds of patterns other people are running and how to work with those. I haven't seen that taught. I mean, one of the people who just joined is the director of a conflict resolution studies program. She has a 39-page resume and a PhD, and she's joining the programs. I continue to be
Hmm.
just amazed and overjoyed and humbled. And I imagine that some of those folks will eventually take leadership in the program and help us massage the curriculum even more because we want to keep learning and getting better and better. So I'm super excited about how this cohort is coming together.
Cool. So the next one, training weekends are October 16 to 18, and
Hmm.
then January 8 to 10, 2027, and then April 9 to 11, 2027. And are these mainly online or
These are
all?
all remote. We had a hybrid training scheduled, but we're a small, scrappy team, and we want to make sure that we take on what we can do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
right now, we didn't think we could plan an entire residential, training at the moment. But I'm in conversation with folks in Indonesia and Nigeria, and possibly soon in Britain about training people on their time zone, whether that's me going there or doing it remotely or some kind of hybrid, because we do want people in different time zones all over the world. And one of my commitments is to be able to provide right livelihood. Like, for example, right now, there are folks in Nigeria who are very trained and talented conflict resolution professionals, and there isn't the market in their country. But maybe there could be, in this country or in Canada to
Yeah,
receive some of the services with this technology.
exactly. Borders don't matter anymore when you have, you know, a camera and the ability to maximize your skills around customers all over the world.
Exactly. To your question about how do you see this fitting into the world of ODR?
Mm.
Yeah, they're using the technology to kind of flatten
Yeah,
access, make that more
exactly.
democratize it.
Absolutely. Okay, so what's next for Mendful in the time we have left? So it's going to be the app rollout, and
Yeah.
people are going to be going to Mendful.world pretty soon to check out everything you're doing. And so you tell us about the future a little bit, and then how can people get involved?
Um, a few different ways to get involved. If you're aligned with Mendful and you know an angel investor or VC, this is a great time because we're doing the proof of concept now. If you want to join this next training community of conflict resolution professionals and learn some deep, growthful, effective skills and get trained to work on the app, apply and we'll chat and see if it's a great fit. Um, Especially if you know young people who are naturally compassionate, there are no prerequisites to apply to be a mental coach. But we do want people who are naturally compassionate. If you've got lots of letters after your name, but you're a cold fish, it probably won't be a good fit.
I understand. So actually, that begs the question. So, what would make a good Mendful agent or
Conflict resolution coach.
representative? Yes.
I think that person, in your life the one who's always kind of steady and really doesn't take sides and kind of gets, and can ask the question that just sort of opens people up and they just start crying. I mean, my teacher, Ike Lassiter, was like that, like big, tall guy from Texas. He would just sit down and he would kind of lean in. And I just want to cry because his presence was so, uh, kind of fatherly. Some people here in Northern California might say divine masculine. He just was a really heartful person. That's the kind of person that we want. You busy, Ike?
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely get this information out. I got a blog post on it on lmipodcast.com, and
Oh,
we'll connect
awesome.
this video, of course. And yeah, just stay connected, and we'll make sure that this word gets out so that people can know because October is around the corner,
I know.
and you want to make sure that folks know about this. So thank you so much for coming on the LMI podcast and
Thank you,
joining.
Mac. It's really great to meet you.
Yes, you too, and thanks for just sharing what Menful is all about. And all right. So the best way, of course, Jill, for people to get a hold of Menful would be to just go to Mendful.world pretty soon.
Mhm.
Additionally, the best way for people to get a hold of you is probably by LinkedIn. Would you say that's correct or
Sure.
any other
Reach out
way?
to me on LinkedIn. There I am.
Yes. Yeah. And so I think if you just put Jill Nagle and Menful, it'll come right up.
I think it
Yes.
will.
Awesome. Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for coming and watching this episode. If you enjoyed this one, check out the other episodes we've done over the years. A lot of the things that Jill talked about today, we've talked about them for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and so nothing's new here, but it's all about conflict resolution and helping people make peace in their lives. Okay, guys, take care and see you soon. Bye bye.
Thanks, Mac. Bye.